especially by those who benefit from the retention of the present system, but in all honesty, by some who want it removed. But as Graham has often said to me anyway, and probably to many of us here tonight, the trouble is the system, not me. Graham, you are a member of a wonderful generation of Australian revolutionaries who led the fight and victory against a nascent Australian fascism in the early 50s, as Elliot talked about, often at great personal and family cost, and then moved on to lead the transformation of your own views of what should be the alternative to oppression and how to get there. And this, of course, includes your efforts to address the personal dimensions of liberation. But there are many of us here, and many who are not, who have experienced Graham's personal support in the form sometimes of a physical refuge from the trials and tribulations that arise in public and personal life, or at other times the refuge of quiet words of intellectual clarity and just straightforward encouragement. It is this very human side which allows us all the benefit of continuing to learn from you as we chart together our course for a liberated future. Comrade, we have much still to do. Thank you. Graham has insisted that he would like to speak. And may I say, as Graham comes, could you please fill your glasses?
Okay. Well, dear comrades, I just don't know what to leave out. But I want to tell you the first thing I should say, all that you've heard is true. The inspiration for my life, my dreams, have been made up of peace and socialism, of solidarity, of liberation, of loving and caring. And the realisation of those dreams on the way is something which I think we're getting somewhere towards. Sometimes there are more and more difficult pathways to negotiate. But I reckon my dreams are nearer a realisation now than was the case, say, at the end of the First World War, about the time that I was born. And I'm ever so pleased I've been able to contribute to that process. Those talents which I learned from my family, from the people that I was with school with in the army, at the university, and from the workers in the factory, and I learned a lot from them. They've, I think, well, I've set out to put them to good use, and I'm a bit loath to compare myself with Fidel Castro, but Fidel Castro is on record as saying that, well, history will absolve me. Now, I would certainly want to say that history will judge whether the validity of that which has been said about me tonight is in fact the case. I've enjoyed it. I've had a great time. And I've got a secret for you too. It hasn't finished yet. My thanks go out to the people who've spoken, all of them, for each and every one of them for their contribution. My thanks go out to those who arranged this evening's dinner, to Mike and Philippa and to Julia in Mike's office. Actually, South Australia's full of these sort of stories, I know. But it is the case that the Digans and the Smiths, that is Father Smith, not me, not my family, but my father's family, were neighbours down at Mount Gambier years ago, before Mike was born. And but we didn't have much to do with them, and it's good, isn't it, really, when you think about it? Because they were Catholics, you see, and we were Freemasons, and we didn't talk to them. What a lot of poppycock, what a lot of nonsense. And so it should be thrown out of the window of history. People have got to learn to love and associate and work together. I learned a lot at the university. I'm very grateful that I had that opportunity. Not everybody did. I was an ex-serviceman. I thought that, I can remember, when I first started work in 1940, 41, the university, that wasn't for me, that was for those clever people. And then suddenly I was in the army and I was talking to these people who gave me books to read, and then I became an army education officer, and I read these books about how you could do a CRTS course, and it was one of my jobs was to advise the soldiers about how they could get into the university and so on. And that was just a heaven-sent opportunity to me. I couldn't believe how lucky I was, really. I mean, it was my bloody right when you think about it. But for me, it was a great opportunity. And I have a great deal to thank the teachers I've had at the university and the co-students we had there, especially if I come to love history. I suppose of the academic learning, history and closely followed by politics is my great love. I learned a lot, as I said, from the workers in the factory too. They are very patient and very understanding. There's the good story I've told, well, I think it's a good story. I thought I was being very careful because I was aware of the fact that I used to speak differently to them, and I'd been to the university before I went to work at Perry's, and I was a bit careful about the phrases I used and the words I used. Wasn't any bloody good. I may as well have given up, because one of the workers said to me one day, "Why do you use them big words, Smithy?" And then my nickname, of course, workers are great for nicknames. My nickname was not Smythe, but Fotheringham Fortescue Smythe. Yeah. And they used to call me to get the morning tea, actually. That's another story. Well, it was good. That was a good experience. I learned about the class. I learned about their life. I learned about what it was like to be in production and see the job going up there. And we used to have to paint. We make all this beautiful stuff that was very useful to society. And we'd put on the bloody side of it, Perry Engineering Company. It was painted on it. Bloody old Frank Perry, he didn't lift a finger to make those things. But it was his name that was put there. He appropriated our products, didn't he? That's what he was doing. About the crane. Oh, yeah. Peter says I should tell you, is that all right? Oh, yes, of course it's all right. Who am I asking if it's all right? Well, we used to get 30, as a tradesman's assistant, I got 13 bob above the margin. We used to have to work, we often worked 48-hour week because that was the only way you could get a reasonable wage. Basic wage was about £6 and 13 bob margin for a tradesman's assistant. Anyway, I was looking around for other jobs, and I thought, I had this dream like all kids do of being a crane driver. And So I got up in this bloody great big transverse crane. It went across the boiler shop there. And I've only got one eye, effective eye. The left eye, of course, is the only one I can see out of properly. My right eyes are good for reading the banner of the top banner headline of the advertiser. Anyway, there's this dogman. And he refused to work with me as the crane driver because I used to have these bloody big RSJs. You know that Da Costa building in Gawler Place there? We made all those RSJs in the early days when they used a lot more steel than they use now. And they bloody big things, and you had to put them down exactly right, because if you didn't, the chances were they'd fall over and they'd squash the dogman to death, of course. And actually, I was a bit upset about this because I thought I was going to emancipate myself, get myself another 6 bob or something. And but I also reckoned the bloody dogman was dead right, actually. And I came down off the crane and became a second-class machinist. I'm working on those big radial drills. Well, as you can see, I remember those experiences well. I think I should say that it was not so easy for the family in that situation as it maybe was for me. I had to go, went off to work each day and had the joy and camaraderie of the workers in the factory and had the satisfaction of political and industrial work. But living on that wage and in those circumstances which we did was something which, it would have been nice if we didn't have to do that. But I mean, it wouldn't have been me, I don't think, if I didn't do it, really. So that was good. It was a good experience for me politically, certainly. People have spoken about my teaching, and thanks to Craig for that. I just want to tell you one little thing that's just lovely. I can always remember these grade 3 kids up at Elizabeth South. Most of them came out from England and they had these beautiful voices. I was hopeless at teaching singing, but they had some very good wireless lessons, radio lessons. And these grade 3 kids used to sing Bonnie Charlie and the lovely old English folk songs. And they'd just lift the roof. They'd bring the tears to my eyes, I can tell you. Just beautiful voices and lovely kids, and it was a great experience. I was in the Bank Officials Union, I was in the Clerks Union, the FIA, the Teachers Institute, the College Academics, and it's a matter of great pride to me and my family that I was made a life member of the South Australian Institute of Teachers and of the College Academic Union. I've been a CPA member since 1944. I've prized that party membership. As the comrade said, I joined under the pandanus tree, almost literally under the pandanus tree in Maratai. The Cubans have a saying, yeah, that's where you learn more, under the pandanus tree than anywhere else. And we did lessons on the state, and lessons on political economy, and 1 week, and then lessons about how we could translate our theory into practice. That's where I knew Jim Cairns too, first of all, as a matter of fact, because Jim Cairns came up to the Maratai after the war finished. He was found to be too conscientious as a detective sergeant, raiding brothels in Melbourne and finding rather prominent people there, which is another story too that I'll tell you some other time. But and it's also since, I'll just fill you in on a couple of things which other people haven't been able to speak about now. Since I retired from the college 7.5 years ago, I've been able to pick up work which has been very rewarding indeed. It's been a great experience for me. And if you find yourself in a circumstance, men especially, I may recommend in this situation, that you can retire early and be the household organiser, experience what it's really like to be the household organiser and the principal childminder. That's a salutary experience. But there are some people here tonight, too, a number of them, who we didn't have the big public fights that we have had in other sectors, but we had some important struggles in the North Adelaide Primary School Council. Karen, I can see some people sort of laughing. And, well, all of those things are of importance and significance in the lives of kids and people. And I am a populist at heart, I reckon. I think I'm a bit of a utopian too, as a matter of fact. Time for confessions. But one of the greatest joys in that 7 years, as Kathy said, was to be stripping the willow, doing the dance Strip the Willow down King William Street. I mean, the coppers couldn't believe it. The Liberal Party couldn't believe it. They felt necessary to join us the next year. We couldn't believe it ourselves either, I can tell you. That was a great experience, and one of the highlights of the many great highlights I had in helping with the peace movement here. And another thing that's happened is doing what I could, and I had the sort of time and opportunity to do it a bit, in the labour movement, in the trade union movement, the Trades and Labour Council, about solidarity with the Philippines, with the people of the Philippines, and long live the people of the Philippines. My God. With a great visit we had to China, with a visit in solidarity with the South American people in struggle, and especially on this day, one may especially note, the people of South Africa on Soweto Day. We must do it better, comrades. We must do our solidarity work better than we do now. But that which I've been able to do the last 7 years has been very rewarding and useful to me. Another little thing too. Well, it hasn't been little to me, and it certainly hasn't been little to the people who participated, is I was recruited by Howard Abbott to help with the teaching in the University of the Third Age at Port Adelaide. And Dulcie Bridges here tonight, and some of the other comrades who participated in that class were unable to be here. And that's been a very rewarding experience because, well, I have had students in colleges who wanted to learn and wanted to read too, but all of these students wanted to learn and wanted to read, and they wanted to tell you about the arguments they'd met in the books. And we've had classes, I'd run out of things to teach them about, and they'd say, oh, come on, Graham, think of something. So, and that's been great, very great, and I'd ask you, Dulcie, to convey back to the people my heartfelt gratitude to them for the insights which we've learnt together. And then the Labour History Society, Tom Sheridan and some others and I got the Labour History Society going. It's struggling a bit, but I think there's a job there to be done, and I direct your attention to that. Last Tuesday, just before I start on this, I'm going to finish off by singing a song, but I'm not going to. I would like if it's fit and proper and they're willing so to do, for the choir to come up and give me a help and give you a help too. So if while I'm doing this last little bit, that fits in with the program, perhaps the people in the choir could come up so we can sing Solidarity Forever. On the program. Last Tuesday, I got a letter from a friend of mine in England, an old colleague, Pat Underhill, telling me his news and wishing me well. Now, I want to share some of this letter with you. If I break while I'm reading, you just pause it. I'll pause a few seconds and my equilibrium will come back, I assure you. When I heard you might have been coming to England, I was delighted. Especially when Pam said you'd liked us to meet. If that's not to be so, Take my hand now, old comrade. We had great times. I've often spoken of you. And there was this guy, Graham Smith, a real unionist, a man of great principles. And so I'd go on, reminiscing with people over here, and I'd always end up, yes, he was my real friend. That's a great tribute, like others that have been paid. A real unionist, a man of real principles, my real friend. I salute my many comrades and friends I've made during the last 60 years. Those here, those unable to be here, those who've died, those yet to come. I salute their steadfastness, their dedication, their love and affection, their solidarity. Thanks very much indeed. Solidarity forever.
When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? But the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. How the union makes us strong. It is we who plowed the prairies, built the cities where they trade, dug the mines and built the workshops, endless miles of railroad laid. Now we stand outcast and starving amidst the wonders we have made, but the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. But the union makes us strong. They have taken untold millions that they never time to earn, but without our brain and muscle, not a single will can turn. We can break their haughty power, gain our freedom when we learn that the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. And the union makes us strong. In our hands is placed a power greater than the hoarded gold, greater than the might of armies magnified 1,000-fold. We can bring to earth a new world from the ashes of the old. How the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. And the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. And the union makes us strong.
the strength we have.